úspechu a pádov, ak podniky verejných služieb transformujú svoje riešenie digitálneho jadra. A bude to táto prednáška bude v anglickom jazyku. Takže please welcome, ladies and gentlemen, Gjorgi Trajčov.
Ďakujem pekne. So, I feel like only beer we can open and family and friends and colleagues. That's good. So this is the first building, literally the first building I stepped into when I came to Slovakia, 2003. Yeah, I spent 2 semesters here. Yeah, good memories. We won the basketball university league and we beat Otava. It's like when Slovakia beats Czech Republic in hockey. There's always something special about that win. It's not like any other win, right? And then we went to Tricadevina and I don't remember the rest of the night. Okay, so I've been with IBM for 11 years now. 11. Do you remember this video? The elevator, voice recognition, speech recognition technology. So it's a video for those that don't know, anybody on live stream, where 2 Scottish gentlemen try to use the latest technology, right? And they fail significantly. This video became viral 11 years ago. 11. Yeah. And that's more than a decade in which we've seen 2008, 2009, the markets crashed, then we gradually picked up, or the markets picked up. China, India, 1/3 of the world's population, 10% GDP growth. It's quite good. Then on the environment, I cannot say we made any progress, but at least we're calling it now for what it is, and it's not a climate change, but it's a climate disaster. Although we had all these summits since the early 70s, but nothing really changed. So let's see how we move forward. And demand volatility. So volatility is, you probably know, it's more connected to significant demand drop. But what I mean here is that people have changed their behaviors in terms of how they purchase, how they acquire things. They want it today, now. Yesterday was too late, and I want it different than anybody else. I want to put it on social network. I want everybody to see. So it's continuous drop. And for those of you who are in supply chain, you know this whiplash effect. When something changes in the beginning, it just has an effect that it just changes so many things all along the supply chain. So when consumers want to have something immediately, then producers have to adapt, have to transform and change. Technology advancements. I see not so many young people here, but really young. You all remember the 4S iPhone. It was still on sale a decade ago. The most beautiful device ever, right? And it's 14 now, 3G, now we're 5G, electric vehicles. Yeah, they used to be the thing of the future. Now they're almost everywhere. Still not working well, but yeah. And then we have the cloud market. The value of the cloud market went from 40 billion to 500 billion this year, so in a decade, and it's growing. And then we have the digital transformation. Now I'm going to go into the next 74 slides on digital transformation. You know when you made it in life, in professional life? Not when you make $1 million, not that I would know of, but when you decide how many slides you have in the presentation. And nobody tells you, oh, you need to put 5 more. So I made it in life. Transformation, so two main elements, right? How you do your business and on what you do your business. Very simple, right? You transform the way you do things and you transform the tools you use in order to make your business. Ideally, they should go hand in hand. That's the perfect scenario. Some clients don't do that. They choose one or the other first. But what we recommend is to do both at the same time, and this is what we're doing with my client at the moment. Sustainable, secure, and scalable, very buzzwords, you know, I found them on the internet. But what they actually mean is that when you transform your architecture, your systems, you need to think a bit longer than 5 years, probably. In the case of a public organization, you don't necessarily want to acquire companies around the world, so you don't have to build this monster where you're going to just put additional companies and systems. but it's sufficient to service the people that you're servicing. Yeah? Process transformation, end state, business process excellence. It's not about efficiency. Sometimes it's misinterpreted with profitability, but this is completely incorrect with public companies. They're not meant to make money. And efficiency doesn't mean that if I spend a bit more, then I'm wasting the money, right? If I build an application for people to buy tickets online and I invest, I did not work inefficiently because I spend more money. I made a value for the users, not to wait in line on the train station. Yeah? Okay, digital core, very quickly. Workforce, so the people that work for the company, they need to be engaged, right? What does it mean? Not work in silos, like finance team, Excel, the Holy Bible, yeah? Everything is in Excel. Sales, no system, just give me a phone and FaceTime with a customer. I don't need anything. Warehouse, pen and paper, you know, my hands are greasy, I have to work, you know, I don't want to write in any system. So you have to keep them in one place. Why? Because they bring the data into the core that you can use for insights, for analytics. Assets. Probably most of you have heard of no lights warehouses. You know what they are? They're warehouses without lights. So the ideal state of the supply chain, even production lines, is to turn off the lights. And how you do that? There's no people, nobody inside. You place some of these things on the internet, the IoT, the assets, and you just monitor, and you can just shut off all the lights, go out, and follow the systems and see where your problems might be, so you predict, and therefore you don't need to be inside. Yeah? And you save a lot of money on the lighting. Okay, suppliers. This is really in an ideal world where suppliers are connected to your digital core in a certain way. Not completely, because that's insecure, but at least they have some visibility of what you need when you really, once you get all that information into a digital core combined with a lot of other information, you can probably adjust your predictability and be better at that. Okay, now the client. Okay, now the client. A house store, and you want to buy the product, it's not there, right? So what do? You lay on the ground, you cry like a baby until somebody brings you the product. Or B, however, a public company of this size, as part of the critical infrastructure, that's the thing, especially in the Central European countries where, you know, the former Russian bloc. Why is this important? Because they have to operate at any time and at any cost. There is no decision-making for long hours. There is no, let's have a meeting next week. You act now, and you fix the problem now. And therefore, and why am I saying this, is because when you go to a company like this, or this size, or of this kind of industry, you have to kind of lower your expectations in terms of what kind of decisions they made in the past, because you have to think why they did it. Yeah? Okay, what problems did we find? No. Olha. Thank you. Jeszcze jedno. Tak. So, the first year, data. I don't know what is worse, to not have all the data, so the availability is kind of the problem, or have the data but it's incorrect. Because the first one is like you go in the right direction, but very, very slowly. And the second one is you run like a headless chicken and you will just hit the wall anytime, because incorrect data is like, I don't know what is worse, but you make up your mind. And why this is happening in such organizations is because of the last one, the ownership. Again, I'll come back to that, this monster of company that doesn't have any competitor. You cannot hire people that do the same job in a different company. That's it. And if somebody dies, leaves, retires, it's very hard to replace them. When you replace them in time, the people that come in have no really an idea of why things are happening. So naturally, they don't put their hands into the decision they make. They try to not put their hands. So this ownership of why is this piece of metal this large is like, I don't know, right? That's how it was when I came here. So it's really interesting how this ownership is really a challenge, and how many discussions you need to have before you explain why it's important that you own this piece of information and you give it next time that you need to give it. System integration, again, you can probably imagine, and this is not only for public companies, commercial companies, they have so many systems, they're badly integrated because, I know, 21st century, you can just integrate anything you want, but it's not sustainable, They're not thinking long term because they want to fix the problem now, which is understandable for this public company, yeah? Strategy. It's very difficult, especially when companies are politically influenced in some way, not really operationally, but there is this influence when it comes to large investments into systems. So they would tend to bend the rules a little bit. So this is really a challenge of what tools are you going to use for the next 5-10 years? Because as I said before, you don't have to think about the other companies because that's it, that's you. You think about the service you're going to provide to your customers. And change management. So there is this thing, and I think it was mentioned before when the ladies were talking about the different roles that we're now seeing that might be interesting for the young generation that they apply. And this is what's happening now. When companies transform, they should be able to translate to the people that they will not be doing the same job just on a different screen. And this is usually the case. This is what they do. Like, don't worry, you're going to do the same, just it's going to look different. And this is, I think, a wrong approach because they're not going to do the same job. Because you're killing the whole ideas about progress. So imagine if somebody finally, comes to a time machine and you travel 10 years back and you go to some company, let's say you go to the warehouse manager and say, you know what? I know the solution because I came for the future and I know how you're going to fix all your problems in the warehouse. I said, oh, how? Well, you're going to hire a data scientist. Like, this meme? Like, seriously? So that's what's going to happen in 10 years from now. Roles have to change. They have to be different, right? And there was this automation of the processes that was in the previous slides that I didn't talk about. And automation is important not to fire people, but to allow them to do something else, something more. And this is something that should be explained. So we can go to the final slide, 75th. I'll just finish this on a different note than you may expect and talk about the most important element here, and that's you, all of you. We shouldn't be working very hard. This is like the Industrial Revolution thing where people try to outwork the machines, not use them, but we're smarter now, right? We know better. We should use the machines. We should use technology and spend more time with our family, with our loved ones, with our friends, because that's what matters.
Mal niekto otázku nejakú na slajde?
Super. Čau, Gjorgi. Čiže otázka. Mne sa tu páčilo celá jedna vec, ktorú by som ťa poprosil, keby si možno ilustroval to, čo si hovoril, na nejakom konkrétnom príklade, ako si, povedzme, pracoval na nejakom deale s nejakým public service enterprise a kde sa tieto veci diali a nejak nám popísal svoju skúsenosť. Ďakujem.
Takže ďakujem za otázku. Tento konkrétny prípad sú Litovské železnice a môžem z toho dať napríklad jeden z tých pilierov dáta. Našli sme tam strašný chaos. V podstate tam dáta buď neexistovali, alebo keď boli, tak boli úplne od vecí. Takže dlhé časy sme trávili na tú data harmonizáciu a vysvetľovanie, že prečo niektoré veci sa majú zmeniť a aké hodnoty tam majú byť. Potom, keď prišli nejaké hodnoty, boli nesprávne a tak ďalej, pretože tí ľudia tomu moc chyby nerozumeli. Nej. Takže neviem, či toto takto stačí. Data bol, čo ešte tam, integrácia systémov. Každý jeden meeting sme zistili, že je tam ešte nejaká ďalšia databáza, ešte jeden Excel u niekoho na počítači, že niektoré veci sú na papieri napísané a takto majú fungovať, čo sa týka procesov. Takže takto v tých public services o tých, povedzme, commercial services company alebo súkromné firmy, tak tam je to niekedy možno aj celkom podobné, som povedal. Nie je to len čo lepšie.
Ja by som mal ešte otázku, čo sa týka klientov lokálnych v public service, teda Slovensko ako také, a zahraničných, či tam vidíš, cítiš nejaký rozdiel v prístupe, alebo proste je to just different country a tiež Excely a na papieri, či aký je tam rozdiel?
Je to veľmi zaujímavá otázka. Myslím, že Mate by bol vhodnejší kandidát, aby odpovedal. On robí viac biznisu. Bohužiaľ, aj napriek našej nejakej snahe sa dostať na slovenský trh s našimi službami, tak zatiaľ sa nám to moc nedarí. Máme naozaj nejaké malé také díly, ale ťažko by sa mi to porovnávalo. Ale nemyslím si, že to nejaký nie. Hlavne v tomto centrálno-európskom regióne tie paterny sú veľmi podobné do správania a všetkého. Máš mikinu.
Je ešte niekto, kto má otázku? Alebo nie? Dobre, tak potom tých, ktorí sa pýtali, tak poprosím potom tu na pre mikinu. Alebo možno aj lístok na Peaniu STU, kľudne, akože. Je na výber. Dobre, OK. Tak ak je to všetko, tak Gjorgimu veľmi pekne ďakujeme ešte raz. A o 16:00 budeme pokračovať diskusiou na tému zmeny a globálne trendy v meniacom sa svete práce. Takže ak vás táto téma zaujala, tak o 16:00 tu určite buďte.